All right, let's jump right in. What if I told you that the biggest advantage in the race to build better AI, well, it isn't faster chips or bigger data sets. What if it's actually a different way of thinking? Today, we're digging into a really game-changing idea coming from the Meda Foundation, which is this. To build the absolute best AI, we have to co-create it with neurodiverse minds.
I mean, really think about that for a second. AI isn't some far-off future thing. It's already shaping everything, how we work, how we connect, basically our entire world. So this question, who gets to be the architect? It's not just some abstract idea. It's probably one of the most important questions we can ask right now. Who's actually drawing the blueprints for the reality we're all about to live in?
And you know, when we think of an AI architect, we probably picture a very specific type of person, right? A neurotypical engineer. But here's the thing. The most innovative companies out there are realizing that's a really limited view. They're discovering that the real answer, the real competitive edge, has been hiding in plain sight this whole time. And it's the incredible diversity of the human brain itself.
And we're not talking about a small tweak here. This is a massive, fundamental shift in thinking. It's about moving away from seeing inclusion as, a chore, an obligation, just another box you have to tick on a compliance form. Instead, we're starting to see it for what it actually is, a powerful core driver of innovation.
This quote really just nails the whole idea. The key word here is with, not for. It's a huge difference. We're not talking about making accommodations after the fact. We're talking about co-creation from the very beginning. And when you do that, when you build with autistic collaborators, the end result isn't just a slightly more accessible product. It's a fundamentally smarter, more intuitive, and way more powerful product for everybody.
Okay, so to really get why this is such a big deal, we first have to completely reframe how we talk about this. This is not, and I repeat, not about fixing a deficit. It's about recognizing and then actually harnessing a completely different and incredibly powerful way of seeing and interacting with the world.
And here's the core concept right here. Neurodiversity is not a bug in the human system. It's more like a different operating system. So instead of thinking of it as a disorder, think of it as having a totally different set of cognitive tools, a unique mental toolkit that's perfectly suited for solving certain types of problems.
Thinkers like the amazing Temple Grandin have shown this so clearly. A lot of autistic brains process the world visually, in pictures, in patterns. This leads to an incredible ability to spot correlations and tiny anomalies that neurotypical brains just skim right over. Plus, they often thrive in systems that are clear, logical, and transparent. Now, just stop and imagine for a second, what would you call those traits in the world of AI development? I'd call them superpowers.
But, okay, having these superpowers on your team is one thing. Harnessing them effectively, that takes more than just good intentions. Just going down an accessibility checklist, that's not going to cut it. In fact, that's when you slide into tokenism, and you miss the entire point.
Let's break down the difference, because it's huge. Tokenism is the old way. It's reactive. It's basically putting a bandage on a product at the end to meet some compliance rules. But co-creation, that's the new way. It's proactive. It means you're building something new, together, right from the very first sketch on the whiteboard. You're embedding that diverse thinking into the project's DNA from day one.
So what does this innovation actually look like in practice? Well, it means you're leveraging these incredible strengths. You've got superior pattern detection that can find hidden signals in massive datasets. You've got that deep, sustained focus needed to untangle really complex algorithmic knots. You have a built-in demand for logic and transparency, which is exactly what we need to make AI more explainable. And, maybe most importantly, you get people who can frame a problem in a way no one else in the room has even considered. See, these aren't just things to accommodate. These are powerful, strategic assets.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But it's not just theory. Let's look at a couple of real-world examples where this co-creation approach has already built technology that's just flat out better. All right, first up, AI communication tools. Things like real-time captioning services or those messaging apps that try to figure out the tone of a text.
So in this case, autistic developers brought their knack for spotting subtle patterns to the table. They helped train the AI to pick up on the tiny nuances in language that most models completely miss. The difference between genuine excitement and, say, biting sarcasm. And the result? The tool becomes way more accurate, which means less frustrating communication for absolutely everyone who uses it.
Okay, let's look at another one. This time in the world of educational AI. Those platforms that promise to give every student a personalized learning path.
Here, neurodiverse contributors gave absolutely critical feedback on something called cognitive load. That's just a fancy way of saying how much brain power it takes to use the darn thing. By helping simplify the layouts, clarify the instructions, and just reduce the noise, they helped build a system that wasn't just a generic one-size-fits-all solution. It became a platform that could genuinely adapt to different learning styles, which of course made it a better learning tool for every single student.
So you take these examples and a ton of others just like them, and they all point to one single powerful lesson. And here it is. When you design things with neurodiverse perspectives in mind from the start, you consistently make them better and easier to use for everyone. It's this classic idea of universal design. When you solve for a specific challenge, like making something clearer or reducing mental friction, you almost always end up creating a better, more intuitive experience for every single person. It really is a rising tide that lifts all boats. Okay, so at this point, the why should be pretty clear. The big question becomes how? How does a company, a team, actually do this? Well, there's a pretty clear and actionable roadmap we can follow.
It really comes down to 5 main principles. You've got to start with participatory design, getting everyone in the room from the get-go. You have to build user experiences that are adaptive. But I want to focus on a really crucial one here. Measuring cognitive load, not just clicks. See, anyone can track clicks, but great design asks, how easy was this for the user's brain? Are they struggling or are they in a state of flow? Getting that kind of insight, especially from continuous feedback loops with autistic experts, is how you end up building AI that's genuinely fair, transparent, and a joy to use.
And when you actually apply these principles, the result is, well, it's profound. The AI you build isn't just more inclusive as a feel-good metric. It becomes more adaptive, more innovative, and more ethical. That right there is the strategic advantage. We're not talking about a product that's just better for a few people. We're talking about a product that is strategically superior. Period.
So, this brings us right back to where we started, with a fundamental choice. The future of AI is literally being coded as we speak. So the question for all of us, whether you're a developer, a business leader, or just someone who uses this tech, is simple. Are we going to settle for just ticking compliance boxes, or are we going to choose to embrace the full, incredible spectrum of human thinking and co-create something truly extraordinary together?